we're still doing this whole new beginning thing for this year. Now, when I told you guys that I've been doing this meditation practice with my husband, this weekly meditation practice, and one of the card for last week that was really interesting, and I'm not trying to use those as like an easy thing for us to reflect on, but it's been really good for us to go over these and really dissect these weekly instead of daily. I mean, you get a lot out of it daily, and in that tradition, in the Kadampa tradition, the people who are nuns and monks there, they do this every 21 days. They just keep recycling and recycling these teachings over and over and over again. And so then you think, well, that must be important, right? If somebody's doing something like that many times over and over and over again, there must be a purpose behind it. There must be something important. There must be some sort of like gravity to it, right? And so I tend to want to eat things a little bit more, I want like a bigger buffet. So me doing it over the course of a week has been helpful because it gives me some time to kind of ponder it in my own way. And so it was interesting because this last one was really important to me because it fell in line with the Melissa doesn't make any New Year's resolutions, but it was in line with something I committed that I was going to try to do this year, which was to not be so like negative and judgy towards things. And I do this sometimes, I'd like to think I'm way evolved past that, but I'm not. You know what I mean? I get mad at people how they drive. I look at people and sometimes, like, look at me. Sometimes I look like I'm wearing clown pants, and yet I judge people on their clothing sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, I look at them, I'm like, that was interesting. What's going on there? You know what I mean? And like, I don't know why I do that. And it drives me crazy that I do that. Like, I do it and I instantly feel bad about myself. Like, I'm like, oh, I fell into an old dumb trap. There's something dumb in there, right? And I don't know where it's coming from. And so last week's thing was on equanimity. And I love the term equanimity. If anybody ever listens to Ram Dass, he talks about that often. And so one of the things that it's looking at things and not judging them. Looking at things and seeing it just as it is. Not being attracted to it or repulsed by it or neutral to it, which is an interesting one because you'd think, oh, okay, so if I don't want to be attracted to it unnecessarily or repulsed by it unnecessarily, then I should be shooting for neutrality, and it's actually you're not. You're shooting for equanimity, which just means that everything is equal. Everything is equal. So even in neutrality, there's not necessarily a sense of equanimity, okay? It's a little bit tricky. But I've been thinking a lot about this, and so last week I had lots and lots of opportunities. You guys have heard me talk about my neighborhood. There were some really cool opportunities in my neighborhood. I was like, oh, there it goes. I'm all over it. I'm judging it. And so then I had to kind of like stop and pause, and I was like, all right, what is that? And it was really cool because one situation that had come up, my husband and I were going for a walk, and then I saw a situation had shown up that gave me the ability to be able to judge so nicely, and we sat and we talked about it, and it was so cool to be able to talk about this on this walk. I'm like, what is it? Am I jealous? Am I pious? Am I proud? Am I entitled? Like, where is this really coming from? That I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this person that I don't know at all. And if I saw them in Sprouts, would I have the exact same reaction that I do in my neighborhood? I don't know. Do you know what I mean? And who cares? And where is it coming from? So there's this process of like peeling back where these things are coming from us, right? Because we're really not right about everything. It's nice if we think we are, but we're really not, you know. We all have our own perceptions and our own backgrounds on things. So Rob and Dawn and I all grew up in the Chicagoland area. So you'd think that the three of us would have like tons and tons and tons in common. We would see the world the same way. We're all from that, like whatever. And no, we see things very, very differently. Do you know what I mean? So, and it doesn't, we might have a bond that we can kind of like lean into because of that, but we don't see the world the same. And so, and since our perception comes from all of these things, like I've talked to you guys about over the years, it's like the first, from conception all the way to the first 7 years of life, and where everything is coming from that, none of us are the same. Even people who are raised in the same household, right? Because I was listening to a comedian a couple of weeks ago, and it was funny. He was saying how like the first kid to the last kid in a family grows up totally different. The first kid grows up and it's like there's no money, and like they're lucky if they have macaroni and cheese. Maybe the family's on food stamps. The last kid, it's like they're ballers, and the kid's got his own phone, his own room. He's got a phone in his room. You know what I mean? I'm talking like my era. You kids are like, whatevs, what does that mean? But you know what I mean? And so it's like such a different reality, and they're raised by the exact same parents. And so their perception of the universe is totally different. So it doesn't make any difference. Like we think we're all coming from like, you get me, right? You get my come from. No, nope, we don't. So any one of you could be walking with me in my neighborhood, and I would bet you that I'm such a persuasive person that I could get you to be just as judgy as I am in my neighborhood. And it's not correct. And so it's so interesting. But if I wasn't there, you probably wouldn't have the same anything. Do you know what I mean? So when we're kind of going into the space of like, what do I do without my judgments? Quentin and I went to a teaching last Wednesday, and it was beautiful because he was talking about the same thing. So this theme is like following me right now. So I know that this is really important. Sometimes I get these things that knock on my door spiritually, and I'm like, I really need to pay attention because it is showing up in way too many important places. And I know that this is important for me to understand. And this one has been it. And so even last week when we were sitting with her, the teaching that we went to, the same theme came up, like, just knowing where these things are coming from. And they're not for you to do. Like, it's not for you to sit there and do that. Looking at things with this space of complete equanimity, it doesn't matter if you're attracted to it or if you're repulsed by it. And it doesn't matter if you feel neutral to it. You want everything to be equal, okay? When we used to own a little cafe in Chandler many years ago, and I would tell all of my employees that every single person that walked through the door was your favorite relative. I would not say your grandma or your grandpa, because not everybody has good grandma and grandpas in the world. So I would say it was your favorite relative, because everybody has a favorite relative, right? Maybe it's that funny drunk uncle that like gives you 50s or something like that. Who knows? It doesn't matter. Everybody has a favorite somebody in their family. And so I told them, every single person that walks through the door, I don't care who they are. I don't care what they look like. I don't care what their background is. They're your favorite relative, and you treat them as such. And so that starts to kind of, you have to allow yourself to dissolve any preconceived notions that you might have about anybody if you start to try to see the world that way, But now this is even taking this a step further. And so that would mean that I would even be having like an attachment to them, or I'd be having some sort of like excitement about being around them. So when we're talking about trying to like really get inside of ourselves and create this feeling of equanimity within ourselves, that is a deeper concept than just like, yay, I'm so happy to see you, friend. It's more just like, wow, really cool, we're here equally together. I'm you, you are me, and we are one. That's really where it has to start to go into, okay? And so when we start to really see everybody that way, then it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're stinky. It doesn't matter if they smell good. It doesn't matter if they're beautiful. It doesn't matter if they're hideous. It doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how they're dressed, Melissa. It doesn't matter how anything. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter if they smile at me and they acknowledge me. And that's me being hurt, right? I'm such a nice person. Like, everybody should say hi to me. I say hi to everybody in my neighborhood. They should say hi to me too. You know what I mean? Like, who cares? Who do I think I am? You know? So it doesn't matter. Like, we should just hey, it's just good. Smile. It doesn't matter. If they reject my smile, it's okay. I still can smile at them next week, right? Okay, so that's what we're gonna work on today in our meditation practice. And this idea of this and again, it's not neutrality, all right? It's still a little sticky one, because if I'm neutral, it's almost like being, what's the word that I'm looking for? It's like I'm disconnected, right? I don't want to be disconnected, because a sense of neutrality almost creates like a disconnect within myself. I don't care. Take it or leave it. You know what I mean? That's not what we're looking for either. So that's why when we go into this equanimity, remember, it's like, you are me, I am you, and we are one. All right? And that's with everybody that we come into contact with. All right? Okie dokie. Quentin, can we turn the back lights off and the front ones down just a teensy weensy? Everybody get your positions comfortable. And for those of you that are new to our center, I'm so grateful that you're here. If you've not ever meditated before, it's just look at everybody else, and then I'll guide you through the rest. So if your eyes are not closed, go ahead and just let them settle down. So we're going to start off with cooling the body off, okay? So really just allowing the body to be in a position where it feels comfortable. So maybe you have to readjust a little bit. That's okay. You can have your hands in a cupping position in your lap. You can have your hands on your knees. The goal is to get the head over the heart and the heart over the pelvis. And maybe even trying to tuck your chin just a little bit, roll your shoulders back and down. So check in with your jaw, make sure it's not clenched. Be sure that your tongue is loose in your mouth. Let yourself get connected to your breathing. And connected to your breathing in a way that it's just rhythmic and smooth. You can appreciate the inhales and the exhales. You can see if it's available to you to put a little smile on your face. That's helpful sometimes, a smile. Whatever the meridian points on the face, what they feel, it's sending a signal to your central nervous system that that's really how you're going to move through the world. So a smile is really helpful. And then just go back to that breath. Now we can settle with our body and feel wherever you are emotionally right now. If there is any other kind of systems in your body or in your mind that are emotionally driving you in one way or another, just breathe into that emotion. And again, it's almost as if you're allowing your emotions to be dissolved with the breath. So you can feel your body get more calm, more centered. I'd like you to just allow yourself to settle in with your mind, and that's where all the thoughts are, and we're going to start to give it some directions. Just picture, imagine, or think about that you're in a forest. It doesn't matter what the forest looks like. And if you can sit there in this space and just imagine, think about trees surrounding you. There hasn't really been a time in your life where you've judged trees for being not right, inappropriate, not pretty. They're just trees. There's a beautiful quality about trees because we are connected to them. They help clean our air and provide shade. It doesn't matter if they're fat trees or skinny trees or crooked trees or short trees or tall trees. Now we will picture, imagine, or think about that we're in a little boat. And we can look in the water and we can see all the fish in the water. And again, it doesn't matter if they're big or small or colorful. Fish just do fish things. swim around. They're not vying for your attention or trying to get your praise. Now picture, imagine, or think about this room and the gathering of the people in here. Some people you know and some people you don't. Just again, seeing everybody in your mind's eye. With that sense of just people interacting for the same purpose. Different come-froms, but same purpose. And let yourself feel that sense of ease and connectiveness with them. And finally, I want you to be with you. It's almost as if you're seeing yourself in a mirror. Sometimes it's really easy for us to find faults with ourselves when we look at ourselves in the mirror. The scars on our skin, the way our hair has changed. Some days it's good, some days it's not. Some days we're pleased with it, some days we're not. Some days we like our reflection, some days we don't. Take the next few minutes to imagine yourself looking in a mirror in that complete space of equanimity. How you are connected to everything and everyone. Because the love and the equanimity that you give yourself is what we can give to everybody else. And if there is a moment where you feel like a criticism or a judgment towards yourself show up, just thank it for being there and just move on. If there is an attachment that you feel for something about yourself, same. Just thank it for being there and then move on. Now, as you're sitting here with this image of yourself, I would encourage you at some point to tell yourself that you love yourself. So really looking at yourself and just saying, I love you. And trying to do it from this place of equanimity. Okay, you can break the imagery that you have. And you can breathe into your body a little bit more again. And move around a little bit more if you need to. And then you can open your eyes when you're ready. Okay. So everything starts with us. Okay? So that's why when I am judging something or I'm being critical, I really need to know why and where is that coming from in me that I'm doing that? Where? Because everything is just coming from you. So it doesn't matter. You can blame everybody in the universe for everything. Everything is coming from you. So it just is. I mean, this is what this is why we're all here. We're here to try to overcome this. I loved what Bunty said in his teaching. He was like, you can judge, but not condemn. So there's a little bit of a difference. So when I'm judging, I'm condemning. I can totally admit that. All right. But when we are judging in the sense of our brains, you have to understand we are very soft mammals. We have no things that make us savvy. We're not that fast. We don't have big claws, and we don't have big sharp teeth. Okay? And so we're really lame when it comes to like the mammal hierarchy. We got these brains. That's it. Okay? And we have some weird way to be able to decode letters and speech. And so that makes us super, super susceptible to predators. So our brains are designed to judge. That's what we're designed. We're wired that way to judge things. Because like if this starts making noise, like I need to know that it's not a snake, right? Or a saber-toothed tiger or something, because I'm like really vulnerable. And you guys, we forget how new houses and cars and clothes are. Like we're in the grand scheme of human life, it's like an hour and a half, And so we forget that like those instincts are still so stuck inside of us. And so we are wired to judge because we need to know whether or not we're safe. Your root chakra, which is your first chakra, which is all about safety and security, it's attached to your nose. Why do you think it's attached to your nose? Because I need to be able to smell food and know whether or not it's going to poison me and kill me. I need to be able to smell pheromones and make sure that, like, as a woman, whether or not this person, I can reproduce with this person, or whether or not they're going to kill me. I need to know, like, there's all these different things that show up, and it's all attached to our sense of smell. So my nose automatically is a judging machine. Do you know what I'm saying? In order to keep me safe. So I have to judge. It's condemning that I need to stay away from. It's the criticizing. It's the so, but why do those things to myself? So if I do those things to myself, of course I do them to other people. Why wouldn't I? Because that's all I know. So that's what I want you guys to work on this week. Looking at yourself in the mirror and just looking at yourself with complete equanimity. everything will be beautiful. Okay? I don't have much of a voice. I was hoping it would sound a little bit more angelic than it did, but it's all good. Okay, so this week is the Reiki attunement. I still have, I don't know if I have any spots left, but I think I do. I think I have one spot left. So let me know if that's something you want to do. The other thing is we have Carlin's workshop is the following Saturday, and it's on hips. So if you've not taken any classes by Carlin, I strongly suggest you take a class by Carlin. But if you haven't, her workshops are very detailed. They're very precision based. They are slow moving. So if you're looking for like a fun workshop where you're going to do like all kinds of whatever, you're not going to get that in Carlin's. You're going to get like pinpointed systematic things that are going to improve the quality of your life. So not that the other workshops aren't like that too. They're brilliant. I mean, all of my teachers, I'm really blessed. I'm like super blessed. I have such brilliant teachers. I really do. And they all have something different. But Carlin is just like I said before, I geek out on all of her stuff. So if you've got hip problems, all of her issues are in her tissues. They're all stored here. Everybody that's got low back problems, it's all there because of this. So we work on that every week here. Okay. All right, you guys, I'll see y'all next week. Just go ahead and leave your stuff. Thank you. Thank you.